1 rich dough with these nuts to make 3 completely different buns, both savory and sweet. The magic ingredient that replaces both dairy and eggs? Cashews. But I use the cheaper cashew pieces instead of splurging on the whole nuts. And if you don't need a whole bag, just buy the 100 grams from the bulk bins. Blend them until you can't see particles anymore. Then strain to make sure. Sure enough, it's thick and smooth as cream, but better. 'Cause it'll make the bread tender and soft, brown nicely without any egg wash, and smell absolutely incredible. It's a little much for this measuring cup, but you know I love to live dangerously. So I'm adding my instant yeast directly. You can use an envelope, which is 2 1/4 teaspoons or 7 grams, but either my scale is acting up today or I went a bit over. I have 9 grams total. For a boost of richness that adds even more tenderness to the bread, 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of refined coconut oil. Refined just means no coconut smell. And if you don't have coconut oil, I guess you could get away with shortening or vegan butter. Likely any solid fat will do. That'll be the potatoes for the piroshki. Earlier, I grabbed a large russet, peeled, and cubed it, and used my new rice cooker to steam for 20 minutes. But is it totally cooked through? Yes. I need them to cool though, so outside with you. Back inside, I'm adding nutritional yeast for a little buttery depth. Don't worry, it won't taste cheesy unless you go wild. But if you're in a nutritious time in your life, just leave it out. Oh no, the yeast is trying to escape into the wet bowl for you. For our dry ingredients, I'm using all-purpose flour. I'm using 3 2/3 of a cup if you are a perfect flour measurer. Nobody is though, so measure by weight and put in a pound or 454 grams. Then 4 tablespoons or 50 grams of sugar, which will only sweeten the dough slightly. Lastly, a bit of salt to wake up the taste buds. Finally, add the wet to the dry with your trusty chopsticks because what else would we be using on Mary's Test Kitchen? Stir until this shaggy dough forms. You could go in with your hands, but I'm outsourcing to my stand mixer, cause yesterday I got it into my head to try baseball for the first time in 20 years, so wouldn't you know it, I strained my wrists simply going for some practice swings. Keep in a lowish speed for about 4 minutes. We don't have to reach the window pane stage. It doesn't even have to be perfectly smooth. Just smooth enough. Like this. We want it to rest, double in size, and self-hydrate, so it gets smoother by itself. So I'll cover it and put it aside. In the meantime, we have fillings to make. First, the taters. They're pretty dry now, so I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Might have to add a little more liquid later. If you have a masher or a ricer, use that. I'll go with the humble fork today. The powdery russet mashes fairly well, but with a little steaming water, it mashes even more easily. Then a little seasoning. Tastes great already, but we can do better. That's right, my friends, aged white sesame cheese. It has a nutty and surprisingly black foresty meaty aroma, with the notes of mild cheddar and Jarlsberg. I've been loving it in sandwiches, but how will it be in Piroshki filling? This is pretty good, but I want more. This makes a total of 50 grams. If you're not aging your own sesame cheese at home, go ahead and use whatever you have on hand. But this is really good. Dangerously good. So into the fridge before I eat it all. The next filling is for our cocktail buns. This Chinese bakery classic is filled with coconut paste. That's so delicious, but I'm winging it today because I don't have 3 of the 5 usual filling ingredients on hand. Now that's okay. On Mary's Test Kitchen, we use what we have and we make it work. With coconut oil instead of vegan butter. And coconut cream instead of creamed coconut. Icing sugar, which will help thicken the liquids, unsweetened coconut shreds for a wee bit of texture. And all-purpose flour, Usually it's cake flour, which has less gluten, but I think because we're using so much fat, plus adding this in last, the gluten will be inhibited enough that this won't come out tough. Optionally, a little annatto for color. Now, cocktail buns also have these distinct lines on top, which usually uses cake flour, but let's see how it goes with AP. Coconut oil again instead of butter, icing sugar, and that's all we need. Or all we mix. This feels like the perfect consistency. I'm so excited for the Chinese bakery nostalgia. Are there any bakery favorites you're missing these days? Tell me in the comments below. The last filling is actually leftover apple pie filling I made like 2 weeks ago. It was homemade using grated pink lady apples because I love their balance of sweet and tart. But I think the canned stuff will work in this too. They can all go back in the fridge for now, as the cold will make our lives easier later. Back to our nutty dough. She has risen. Soft and puffy. Oh, we have that in common. I love that for us. Let's get it out. I have this extra flour on the side, so I put a little down, but honestly, I didn't need it at all. This dough isn't too sticky, and it's really easy to work with. Now, how big to make each portion? Well, the ultimate answer to the universe is 42, so who am I to argue? Make them into smooth little balls. Cover so they don't dry out. Measure, ball, stack, until we have this cashew dough mountain. At this point, you could bake them for incredible dinner rolls. But we have 3 kinds of chilled filling, so I have no choice but to squish and roll out and scoop in some chilled coconut filling. About a tablespoon and a half, maybe 2. Not too much though, because I want to pull up the dough to meet in the middle so it's easier to seal up. And if the oil gets on the edges, it won't seal up. Tuck in the 2 ends and pinch to keep it shut. Roll a bit on the table to smooth out, and onto the parchment-lined baking sheet. I'll make 6 today. For our apple pie filling, let's go for a circular shape. Attempt pleats that look atrocious. Flip over. Problem solved. But, my friends, I can't stop myself from pleating. Is this the genetic urge to make dim sum? Because this style is inspired by hagao, aka my childhood favorite crystal shrimp dumplings at dim sum. These days, I do a tofu version that's surprisingly even better in my opinion. But ultimately, is the pleating necessary? No. But is it cute and therefore makes things taste even better? Yes! At least I think so. Are you the same way? Anyways, if the edges get a little wet and don't seal all the way, don't worry about it. You'll see why later. Now with this tray filled up, I'm covering it with my delinted kitchen towel that I soaked and then wrung out so it's not dripping. Then I'll proof this in the oven with just the oven light on to create a warm but not too hot environment, while we create the potato piroshki. I actually created this dough while trying to veganize piroshki using cashews to stand in for the richness of butter and eggs. So this filling is what I'm really about today. It's easiest to pat into shape, then placed on the flattened dough. Seal around the potato log. And now for a little decorative pleating. I've actually been trying to perfect piroshki for years. Maybe not the piroshki your Russian grandmother is thinking of though. I'm literally trying to recreate a school lunch that I really loved as a kid. Anyways, I don't have another large baking sheet, so it's going to go in my casserole dish. With the same buns going on 2 different kinds of baking things, you'll see the effect after they bake up. Speaking of, it's time to preheat the oven, so these have to come out of there. It's been about a half an hour and the coconut and apple buns have puffed up really nicely. It'll take about 15 to 20 minutes for the oven to preheat completely, so we can keep them tucked in until then. And now with the oven ready to go, let's reveal they're a little bit more puffy, and I will put on the finishing touches. First, you don't need an egg wash or syrup wash to make these buns brown nicely, but it makes a slight difference. So I'm mixing up 1 part maple syrup, 2 parts water, and brushing on half for science. Cocktail buns need their trademark decorative piping. I'm not the most dexterous person, but I'm pretty impressed with myself. Beautiful. And bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 27 minutes. Afterwards, they smell incredible. I wish you could experience the bakery aroma happening here right now. A mix of Chinese bakery and mom's apple pie. We do have a little coconut filling leakage, as you can see. A couple of them were not fully sealed, I guess. But can you see the difference between the maple washed and plain buns? The maple wash just adds a slight deeper shade. It looks a little more even and shiny. So I'm going to add it to all the piroshki. And now they can go in the oven as well. After 25 minutes, the piroshki on the dark pizza pan is nicely done. Again, the smell is incredible, but this time they are distinctly potato piroshki. I feel like I'm walking into my elementary school cafeteria again on Piroshki Day. But the casserole dish needed a few more minutes to match. Actually, there's quite a difference, can you tell? The white casserole dish didn't heat up as quickly in the oven. That affected not just the timing and color, but also the rise. So it's not terrible, but the casserole dish definitely belongs on the B team. After a few minutes on wire racks, my friends, it is the moment of truth. First, the cocktail bun. The pull apart reveals the tender crumb. Inside, the coconut filling awaits. Yes, it tastes just like the bakery. This coconut has the perfect amount of creaminess, so it's not too dry, not greasy, but still a little texture. The color is not as yellow as I would have wanted, so maybe a little more annatto next time. The topping, however, not exactly the same as the original. It's less soft, more crunch. More like a cross between cocktail bun topping and pineapple bun topping. I really like it. Now for our apple pie bun. Same tender and lovely bread, but with a sweet and tart apple pie filling, light bit of cinnamon, and where the bun had pulled apart, revealing the filling, it's a bit more caramelized and chewy. So it's even better this way. Finally, the reason why this cashew dough even exists. Potato piroshki. Another lovely tender bite filled with hearty, savory potato filling. This sesame cheese is giving it a savory bump, but the combination of slightly earthy potato is actually giving mushroom in the best way. I'm so happy I have quite the supply now. To store these, just let them cool completely before placing them in food containers or a sealable bag. These are so worth it whether you make all 3 or choose just one. Now I need your help. What should I try next? Expand this dough to see if other seeds or nuts work? See how it laminates and actually get closer to real brioche? Or maybe try to croissantify it? Steam it and see if it can baozi? Fill it with something else from your imagination? Let me know in the comments below. As for me, my cheese-making culture just arrived, so we are going to get on that. Make sure you're subscribed for future experiments. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.